Hello, hello. Please get closer, feel comfortable, grab a chair because we have a very interesting discussion today through Conservation International Instagram, which we took over today directly from Brazil. Nice to see people arriving. Welcome, everyone. That's pretty good to see you guys here. Thanks a lot. Well, let me introduce myself first. I'm Mauricio Bianco. I'm the Vice President of Conservation International in Brazil, and I'm really excited to be with all of you here today. Thank you for tuning in, and today I'll be joined by, besides me, Rebecca Tavares. She's the CEO of BrazilFoundation. It's a partner organization of Conservation International in this campaign called Amazon Forever, which is the subject of our discussion today. Also Francisco Costa, that I'm seeing him already. Nice to have you, Francisco, here. We'll grab you in a while. Francisco is a world-known designer and the founder of Costa Brazil, which is a unique beauty brand that sustainable sources from the Amazon. It's very, very special products. And together, Conservation International, BrazilFoundation, with the support of Costa Brazil, we have been working to mobilize emergency resources and aid to traditional communities in the Amazon who have been hit pretty hard in this coronavirus pandemic. So for you that are arriving here and don't know Conservation International yet, I just want to mention that we work to protect the critical benefits that nature provides to people. That's our mission, in fact. So we do that through science, partnerships, and fieldwork. And we drive innovation and investments in nature-based solutions to the climate crisis. And then we support and protect critical habitats, economic development that is grounded to conservation of nature. We work in more than 30 countries around the world, and we do that empowering societies to create a more sustainable planet at the end of the day. So that's a little bit of CI. Today we will discuss the impacts of COVID-19 on the Amazon, and how activities, actions from individuals, businesses, and civil society in general, how those kind of actions are crucial for helping traditional communities that still being the guardian of the forest. That's why they're so important. Besides their own lives, which are really important for sure, but besides that, they have an important role protecting forests. So first of all, let me get Rebecca in here. Let's see if I can find Rebecca in here from BrazilFoundation. Let me see. Where are you, Rebecca? Oh, BrazilFoundation is in here. Let me see if they're coming.
Hello.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hi, Francisco. How are you?
Hey, nice to see you.
Really good to see you. Really
That's
good.
good. That's good. I'm glad you're here with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I was just saying our purpose here on the Amazon Forever campaign, and very glad to have you here, and in a while to have Francisco too. So I'm glad you make it in here. So let's start it.
Yes.
Let's start this conversation. I mean, Rebecca, for those who are not familiar, can you tell us, can you tell our audience a little bit about what BrazilFoundation does for those past 30 years, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, 20 years.
20, sorry,
That's
yeah.
okay. Good, thank you. And thank you so much, Mauricio and Francisco. Shout out to you. Thank you too, because we wouldn't be here today without Francisco. And hello to everyone. So BrazilFoundation was established 20 years ago. We're having our anniversary year this year. We're a small foundation. We're an operating foundation, which means that we work with donations of people like you who are part of the Instagram today. So your donations and the donations of private sector, of businesses and other foundations all come together, and we're able to pass those funds along to organizations all over Brazil. So we've already funded over 650 organizations.
Nice.
And reaching thousands of people. I wanted to talk a little bit about COVID nationally. We've raised $2.5 million for COVID emergency response, humanitarian endeavors in 18 states across the country, reaching over 136,000 people. So our partnership with Conservation International is to take that work much more directly into the Amazon region, and that's why we are talking today about Amazon Forever. Which is going to really support the organizations of the people, the indigenous communities, the Ribeirinhos, the people that live along the rivers, and the descendants of Quilombos, or the African descendants that live in the region. So we're really grateful for all of you, and we hope that all of you will contribute to that important work, because the indigenous people are so much more vulnerable to the effects of the pandemic, and we'll be talking about that in a minute. But just to let you know about the BrazilFoundation, this is how we work. We are based in the US and in Brazil. We have a team in Brazil, just like Conservation International, that works across the country and knows all of the organizations that we work with, and we're really grateful for all of the donors that have donated $60 million since we were founded 20 years ago. And we're just happy to be now with Mauricio and Conservation International in this really, really important work.
Yeah, those figures are impressive indeed, Rebecca. You know, this amount of people benefited by BrazilFoundation on those 20 years, that's very impressive. Congrats. That's very, very important. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's, I mean, can you tell us a little bit how have traditional communities in the Amazon been impacted by COVID-19? And I think before that, you already mentioned what traditional communities are, which I think it's important to say, which is our indigenous people, Ribeirinhos, that we call those people that lives on the riverside, and also Quilombolas, right? That comes from former slavery. So those kind of we call it traditional people. So can you tell us how are being impacted by COVID?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of data now that, you know, the people in that region are 6 times, the indigenous people specifically, because not everyone in the Amazon region is from one of those traditional communities. And Manaus, as we all know, has been severely impacted. But the indigenous people have been 6 times more likely to be infected with the coronavirus over the white people in that region, and they're dying at much more higher rates because the villages where they live, they don't have access to health care. And so the infrastructure is not there, the access to a health care center is not there. People travel by the river, as you all know, by boat there, and oftentimes there's no ability to get social distancing on the boat, and people are using the hammocks for transporting patients. It's very difficult to get access to care. So that's a big issue. We have over 20,000 cases of COVID within the indigenous populations in Brazil, and 2/3 of them are living in the protected indigenous areas. So we are risking all of the languages, the culture, the indigenous knowledge, all of the aspects of the indigenous communities that are promoting sustainable livelihoods, that are able to sustain the rainforest. This is what is at stake. So we have, as you will be hearing later, there, you know, we had one of the region's first recorded deaths in the indigenous community was an 83-year-old Marabu man. We've lost the Kaya Po leader, Paulinho Paiaca. And we also, Raoni was also hospitalized, and the Cocama community on the banks of the Solimões River in the state of Amazonas, it's only 800 people in that community, and they are one of the groups that's been most affected by the COVID pandemic. By the second week of June, a total of 57 of those indigenous Cocoma people had died, and the pandemic is spreading across the region. It continues to spread at alarming speed. The cases are mounting, and at least 75 different tribal groups have already been affected. So this is a really emergency situation, and that's why we're here today. Mauricio and I and Francisco are here to ask all of you that are participating today to take action because it's so important. We have, as BrazilFoundation, we've worked with over 31 organizations in the region since 2004. We have a lot of knowledge of what is being done there, and of course Conservation International also knows deeply the organizations and the indigenous communities and the Quilombola communities and Ribeirinhos that are already on the front lines of action. So it's now emergency humanitarian support, and that's what we're asking for today.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, you mentioned that more than 20,000 indigenous people were infected. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's important to add on that element that from those that were infected, by the information that we have until the August 7, it's from those 559 died from COVID. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
very important. You mentioned some very important leaders, and we say it in Brazil that when a leader, when an indigenous leader dies, it's just like an entire library dies together,
Yeah.
because all the culture, all all the information, all the language,
Mm-hmm.
everything, that knowledge that they carry on, most of the time they go together with them. So
Yeah.
it's a real shame. And among the indigenous leaders that we just lost, unfortunately, you mentioned some of them. We have Aritana Awalapichi that died last week, which was a real shame. I mean, it was we feel real sorry for the Awalapichi people and all the people from the Amazon, because he was such important leaders for indigenous people worldwide, I have to say. Yeah, but let me ask you something. I mean, we've been talking about those traditional communities,
Mm-hmm.
and why you guys in BrazilFoundation believe it's so important to help them to go through COVID.
You know, Mauricio, you have already mentioned it, and it's so important that, you know, each individual person is like a whole library. The type of knowledge, when we talk about indigenous communities, many of you know, that it's an oral tradition. People hold the memories. They may not have the written memories, and so we don't have access to that knowledge. Once the person dies, then that knowledge can be lost. And we have so many language groups there that are already at risk, as you all know, about the invasions of the territory, the loss of territory, the burning, the difficulty of maintaining sustainable livelihoods in the region. You know, all of those things are contributing to the loss of culture. So we have, and you know, all of the artifacts, the arts and the artifacts, and really important, the diversity, the biodiversity knowledge, which leads to all kinds of pharmaceutical discoveries that are still taking place. There's so much yet that's undiscovered, and it's the traditional knowledge, the people that have lived there for generations and generations that understand how a lot of these plants, herbs, barks, you know, a lot of and animals too can contribute to the development of healing and healing practices. So on top of all of that, we have the question of the rainforest itself, and the people that live in the rainforest are the most important stewards of the rainforest. Nobody else can do that work. So this is how we sustain the lungs of the world, the reduction of the carbon emissions, and the water table underneath the Amazon rainforest, which is the largest source of water for the future of humanity. And if the people of the rainforest cannot be protected and survive and make good use, of sustainable use of the rainforest, it will be lost for all of us, along with all of the knowledge. So this is why it's so important today.
Yeah, we really depend, in terms of climate, we really depend on the Amazon. And when I say we, the entire planet does, not just
humanity.
Exactly. So that's it's so important, you know, besides the lives of those people, that just for their lives will be enough, right? But we depend on them, and they are playing an important role for them and for the entire humanity. So that, I think that's that message for me personally, it's very profound, and we have to kind of really defend on those and try to help them. And as you know, to bring Francisco here, I have to kind of ask you for you to leave, which is a shame.
Okay.
But before you do that, we've been discussing the past days, Rebecca, and how hard it is to kind of explain the threat that these communities are living nowadays. You know, we don't see donations as much as growing as much as at the beginning of the pandemic. We see kind of a fatigue that people that want to donate, but that's not. I mean, by the other side, people that is needing this donation, things are getting worse. So I mean, and I think we have a role here. You are, and so do I, to show that things are not getting better at all. You know, just the opposite of that, right? So what's the message that you wanna give to the people that are here with us today, and ask them to kind of spread the word on that.
Absolutely.
On how to help. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And let's just be very direct, because we should not be beating around the bush. We have to ask. We need your help. Everyone who's here today, we need your help. We need you to spread the message. We need you to tell everyone that you know that the people that live in the Amazon, the traditional communities, need your help now. We've never had a pandemic like this, and it's not getting better. And these are the communities that are the most affected. And as Mauricio said, we had a surge of generosity to fight the pandemic in Brazil over the first few months, but the fatigue has set in. And this is where we need renewed energy. So please contribute. Conservation International and BrazilFoundation have teamed up with the BrazilFoundation's fund called Amazon Forever, and in Portuguese it's Amazônia Sempre. So please go to the Brazil Foundation website, www.brazilfoundation.org. You'll see the donation button. Go straight to Amazônia Sempre or Amazon Forever and give as much as you possibly can. Thank you, and thank you, Mauricio.
Yeah, I really appreciate, Rebecca, you being here with us and being direct, straightforward with the need, because we're here for that. I mean, we're doing the middle term, right? We're just helping them to get better on this situation. Exactly. Right. So thanks a lot. I appreciate.
Thank you.
I hope you can stay with us. I will
for sure.
I will bring Francisco over. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Here's Francisco. It's about to come here. Let me see. I have to take Rebecca out. Sorry, Rebecca. Oh, here's Francisco. Oh, here's Costa Francisco. Let's see. Waiting for Francisco.
Hey guys.
Nice. Hey.
Let me see how my head's looking here.
Looks
Rebecca,
good.
Thank you.
Like always. Like always. Nice to see you, man.
Nice to see you as well, Mauricio.
Yeah,
what a pleasure.
Nice. Yeah.
And the best part of being, in live is to talking to people like you, both of you. And Rebecca, really, I said that in the last live that we had, that for being an American and with this amazing Brazilian heart, she speaks with so much knowledge and so much confidence about, what her needs are. And to be heading that organization is really, really incredible. So thank you, Rebecca. Please don't leave. We need you all along. And Mauricio, of course, heading BrazilFoundation in Brazil is the most wonderful thing. It's somebody who has so much knowledge, somebody who is not just in a corporate end, but on the ground, understanding really everybody's needs and everybody's necessities and really experiencing this whole situation all over. So thank you. I'm very humbled to be part of you guys, to be helping. And I'm going to start with a very sad news that you guys already repeated. We started this campaign. The campaign is called Amazon Forever. Amazing initiative in between the two organizations, Conservation International and the BrazilFoundation, and we're not doing well. So what do you mean we're not doing well? We need your participation immediately. Any donation is valid, from $1 to $50 to $500,000. So I wish, for $1 million, that's our goal. So I feel very, it's been such a struggle, guys. I don't know, again, because of the fatigue, because the world is not just one thing or two. The world now is bombarded with so much, sadness, let's put it that way. Yeah. But this is an issue that's been really, really bothering us. And of course, all the communities there are going to be benefited by it. Thank you very much. So I beg for your support. Again, please do. And I'm going to say something. If you do donate, I'll give you. Costa Brazil will be very happy to reciprocate that donation with our travel-sized body oil. So, send me a message on my Instagram at Costa Brazil or at Francisco Costa, and we'll make that happen with pleasure. And the reason, actually, I just came up with this right now, is that because you're going to understand the beauty, in which we're dealing with, and that cannot be lost. our products, a little, just to give you a little feedback, our products are all the ingredients are from the Amazon. And the more we support, the way they source, the way they actually build their communities and their cooperatives, is the way we actually source. And of course, through Conservation International, we have been able to really dig and understand how they do it. So I really, please donate, and I will reciprocate that donation with our travel size body oil. With that being said, Mauricio, I think, again, thank you. You can also donate at BrazilFoundation.org/Amazonia.
Exactly.
Again, www.BrazilFoundation.org Amazonia. So please make your pledge. And also, if it's beyond financial, we want to hear your ideas. We want to hear how can you help. Again, on this world that's flooded with us, flooded with so many things, we need your participation. Join the forces. This is a very serious cause. It's not going to go anywhere. It's a long way. Mauricio, thank you I was listening to your call with Tashkin yesterday. And it's so interesting because, again, Tashkin, just to put it in perspective, guys, Tashkin is one of the chiefs of the Waimanawas, one of the Waimanawas communities. And that's how I engaged myself with the region. It was my first time in Brazil at the Amazon region, and I visited Tashkent Waimanawa and the Waimanawa tribe, right? So that was really opened up a whole can of worms, I put it that way, because I got to be with them for 10 days, understand how they survive, how they live, how they communicate with each other, and how tender and how amazing and how beautiful that culture really, really is. And again, not to be redundant here, we know that they are really the keepers, right? We say that they have the keys, to the world when it comes to conservation and protection, which is what we live for today, right? Without that, without that forest, we'll be in a lot of trouble, especially now that a lot of our governments, right, whether it's in America, whether it's in Brazil, whether it's elsewhere, are taking, it's such a vital cause. Everybody knows the needs to protection, but very, very few people are doing, very few governments are actually taking that strongly upon their hands to support. So it takes organizations like CI and the Brazil Foundation to really to step up, and to make that word understood and how can I say? Yeah,
I have a question for you, Francisco. And you know that we all know that you're a great supporter of the Brazilian traditional people, of the traditional culture in our country, and also protecting nature. You do that by yourself, and you do that by Costa, Brazil, and share with us what's the inspiration that was for you so important, and how the Aiwanawa played a role on your inspiration. So we are here together with Brazil Foundation doing all
Sure.
this. How was it?
Well, again, when I started the brand, I had, I had to have a very Brazilian spirit. Everything that I did was really Brazilian inspired, but it lacked the soul of the brand. Let's put it that way. So I got a call, right? My mind just like, I have to go back to Brazil, and I have to dig into what matters the most. And what matters the most in this context was the source of the ingredients in which I wanted to use for the brand. With that being said, I engaged with the Waimanawas, and I visited them a couple of times. Fast forwarding, when COVID hit like 5 months ago here in the US, the first thing I did, I called Tashkin. I texted him because I really felt, oh my God, has COVID hit the Amazon region yet? How is that? What is it? So he was very sweet. He said, Francisco, I'm just at the aldeia. We just left. We had a week of rituals, which they use several different, roots and what have you from the region, to protect themselves, against, the viruses and what have you. So with that being said, which I could totally appreciate, and I totally appreciate his kindness explaining, the way of dealing with the situation, which of course was very far from them at the time. I simply had this thought that, my God, here we don't know what it is. Here we don't have any resources for a cure. We haven't done a vaccine. We don't know what it is that's happening. It could be devastating. So it certainly, I felt very compelled, to call out to you guys, and bring us together somewhat so we can amplify. That's the word I was looking first. So we can amplify this message that would really bring immediate support to the area. So I think in terms of the brand, in terms of who I am, in terms of what I do nothing and very little compared to what it needs to be done. But realistically, my existence with them, my being so near them over there, really became the only source of inspiration for me to actually to continue with this brand and to make that decision, whether the brand would be a natural, clean brand, how is it sourced. The whole thing came from me being in contact with the people, being in the jungle for the first time, scenting everything, experiencing everything, tasting everything, and really digging myself into the culture. So I'm very thankful that this happened. I'm very thankful that from way and the other, because I was supposed to go on a tour, for instance, into the Rio Negro, which is an area in the east coast of the Amazon, let's put it that way. And it was a very fancy trip, great boat, great cooks, and what have you. The trip got canceled. So I called the person who had organized this trip, which actually, was on our call, on our last live. And he says, Francisco, I'm going to this tribe in Acre. It's a different experience, perhaps a much more spiritual experience. There's a Mariri festival, which is a festival in which they are bringing back all of their cultures in terms of all the rituals. So there's a ritual of the fishing. There's a ritual of the kids going fishing. There's a ritual of the dances, so many dances, the fight, this and that. So the Mariri festival is in which I visited. It's extremely important, for the culture of their region, because again, they are, bringing that all the customers alive, right? It's still vital, and that's really, really important because it creates a sense of pride, and that pride really will be translated to the kids, to everybody that's there, generations and generations, keeping the culture alive. And this culture alive is super important because, again, they're the guardians of the forest. With that being said, that's what happened, what I mean? And I'm very, very grateful to their kindness to have me there for all that time, for teaching me so much, in such short time, and to get me uncomfortable, because I was really uncomfortable being there. You know what I mean? But
totally.
But making me really realize that the vital thing in life really is nature. Nature is everything, and then it goes back to what you do, conservancy, which is really incredible.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the same thing that inspires you with the NOA, it touches everyone that goes there. I had the experience to go there last year for first time too, and every people that goes there, it feels different. It feels that they are like closer than we are, and we never met before, and it seems like they're from our family or friends, longtime friends. They're very special people, and in such a way, indigenous people, I think they have a little bit of that. Because I really saw them as being the soul of nature in certain aspects.
Yeah.
which I think it's pretty important. So I was telling Rebecca that only for the sake of their lives, we need to help them. And if they are helping the planet to keep the largest tropical forest in the world alive, which is fundamental for everything in terms of climate, the air we breathe, the water, and everything, we need to help them. There's no way. We need to help them to help us at the end of the day. You know, that's pretty important. And I want to highlight that the Maridi Festival that you just mentioned, we heard from Tasca on Monday that it will be done this year, but only online. So that will be pretty interesting, because by the other side, more people can get us access and see what the Maridi is. Of course, it's not the same as being there. I'm absolutely sure it's not the same, but at least more people get to see what the culture is. So it will be in October. So people that are interested on that, just have a look on Tasca Iwanawa in Instagram. He will be posting the dates and everything. So I think that it really worth to have a visit on this, on even online, on the Iwanawa people. Yeah. And Francisco, before we close in here, since the blame of us being together here, it's yours, because you put us together in here. Well, I really thank you for that. I mean, BrazilFoundation, Costa Brazil, and CI. Can you tell us a little bit about what's your role in BrazilFoundation, what you do there, and the same thing in CI, what you've been doing in CI lately?
Guys, my role is no role. My role is to amplify the message as much as I can.
Yeah.
So by engaging, with nature, engaging with the Waimanamas, and having this really connection with nature, which brought me to create Costa Brazil. It was fundamental that I would understood a little more, which I don't know much yet, but hopefully as we do, we get better. So I started engaging with Conservation International, right? And what happened was, after a certain period of time that I was becoming involved, they invited me to be a chair of the Americans Council. So it's a very haunting task, because when you talk an organization that large and that structured, and having an artist to be in that position, it's kind of haunting. We see things in very funny ways, but this is my
complementary ways, which is important.
Yeah, but this is, I think, it's my responsibility. One is to excite people, one is to amplify the message largely, and one is to raise funds. And that's the part the most disturbed about. And then that's the part that I really need your help, guys. Everyone that's listening, to amplify this message, donate, because your help is really, really important at this moment. Because without your help, we cannot make, the pieces move. This is a puzzle, and it's intertwined. It's like the Amazon region. It's like the jungle. All the trees interconnect, right? Yeah. There is a true communication between everyone. We are trying to build here this very large community, community that, especially with my background in fashion, I think it's a lot more current today. That's so necessary. When I was growing up in fashion, nobody talked about sustainability. Nobody talked about anything. Nobody, mass consumption has put us in this situation. So I, again, beg you to be responsible, to buy less, but to buy better. To read your labels carefully, to really dig into what you're buying. And if it's not responsible, don't buy it. Enough of those big corporations digging and dissecting everything that nature has created for us. So the earth now is a very dangerous spot. We need your responsibility here. You need your mindfulness, to really be a world citizen, right? Let's call it a world citizen. It's very important that you connect to those causes. That's a major cause. And then make something happen. It's all about us, taking a cause and digging with it and dealing with it very closely. You can't save the world, but you can save, what's next door to you. You can evoke a different, energy or vibe. We can really influence people. So I feel like, in a very humble way, I think if I can communicate that, how I feel today, how I felt in the past, I couldn't care less. Although, I was very connected to nature, but I had no conscience about what it meant. You know what I mean? The more clothes I created for a collection, the better it would be. No, it's not like that. Remember in my past jobs, I had one. I'm not going to tell you which companies that is, but it's a very, very large corporation that everything we did was fur. Fur. Although I can see that fur could be sustainable at some level in a farm somewhere in Alaska, the misconsumption of that is wrong. So I think, like I realized that later, I realized that we also have to source responsibly. We also have to dig into every single thing you do. And that's the beauty of me talking to you now, because all I can do is to learn, and Mauricio, you're just so grounded in so much knowledge, understanding, and also so smart because also you do with a corporation. I encourage everyone to call, to send a text, to be involved, and to donate for the time being, guys. This campaign is not doing well, and we can't close it off because we have to keep going, but we absolutely need your support. So again, please, www.
BrazilFoundation / Amazonia.
BrazilFoundation. Anyway, and Amazon Forever, it's really a beautiful name because, it tells us about longevity, and it's the longevity that we need to protect the world. Amazon Forever means we can breathe. Amazon Forever means we are part of this environment and we never going to go away. So, anyways, I keep going, but something around there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really appreciate your role as a amplification, as you mean, which is very, very important, So I really appreciate what you've been doing for CI, for BrazilFoundation, and for everyone. And just for us to try to wrap up in here during those very tough times that we are going through, do you have any words of inspiration to leave to our audience today so we can finish this with I know that we are asking, Rebecca asked, you're asking, I'm doing it also, but what word of inspiration you wanna
hi from Indonesia. How wonderful is that? Hi from Indonesia. That's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? I think we end this conversation with that because, we are the world together, right? And when we talk about conservation, it is, protecting Amazon, but it is protecting the world. And I think that's why CI is so vital. And that's why CI and BrazilFoundation together makes a huge, amazing partnership, which I'm very proud to be here, with them. Hi from India. Yes, hi from India. Hi from Switzerland. I know that one. So, guys, hi, Mohammed. I don't know where you're coming from, but, this is great.
I saw a hi from Minas Gerais, from Elvésio too. So
no. So guys, please amplify the message. This is very important. Please donate your time. Hi from Colombia, Major. Hi. Elvésio from BH. Seychelles. My God. This is really wonderful, guys. This is all the works of CI. So I thank you. And be generous to the world. Be generous to one another, and try it because it's only trying that we can survive, right? But if it's right or wrong, it's completely irrelevant. You just have to try it. And because at one point, all your efforts are going to hit the right time on the right time, and then they'll be fruitful. So I think, going through life, exploring, and with very positive energy, very positive attitude is extremely important. Sometimes you're going to be successful, other times you're not. But, trying and amplifying this amazing message, which is the world, which is the Amazon, and the people who inhabit this world, you know what I mean? We still, I think, a very special race, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Francisco. Again, I really appreciate your support. You've been being a great partner of CI and of indigenous people in Brazil. I really appreciate. I want to finish this our Instagram live saying that the Amazon it's really fundamental for ensuring the health of our planet and for indigenous people that are the real stewards of this vital ecosystem. But both indigenous people and the forest are being hit very hard with this virus. So you have the chance to support thousands of vulnerable families in the Brazilian Amazon, and in the long term, invest in the actions that protect the Amazon forest and the biodiversity in the community that local economies depend on it to source for food and productive activities. So visit BrazilFoundation.org/Amazonia today, and don't forget to turn in the next time. Really, thanks, Francisco. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, everyone, for being here with us, and see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Please donate.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.